I'm Bob and I like to make stuff. Today we're gonna make dice towers. Not too long ago, we made this awesome gaming table, and one of the reasons that we made this is because we want to play Dungeons & Dragons, as well as a bunch of other games. And part of playing Dungeons & Dragons is rolling dice. So the game comes with a bunch of different types of dice. Some of them roll very easily, some of them do not because they're strangely shaped. And so one of the things that people often do to make it easier to force these things to roll is to make a dice tower. The dice tower doesn't actually do anything other than making sure that these tumble and end up on a random side. They're just a fun way to roll some dice. So today, I'm gonna make a dice tower that fits my character, and then other people on the team are gonna make their own, and we'll show you all the different options. So the first thing is to head to the shop, and we'll cut down some plastic. To get started, I've got my dice here. These were a gift from our friends at When Geeks Craft. They are super cool. Let me show them to you. Aren't those gorgeous? They made these, so big thanks to them for these awesome dice. But I wanted to show you this because this is actually going to be the basis for my dice tower. This is an LED matrix that I'm going to hook up to a small Arduino-like device, and then we're going to build the tower up from these corners and make it like this. So it's going to be a big, clear thing that will have light come through it. You can drop the dice in the top, they'll roll down and then out one of the sides. And so really, this particular LED matrix is going to be the kind of constraint that we're working around. The height doesn't matter, but we're going to try to line it up with these outside edges so that this gets hidden underneath the rest of the tower. And so the way that I think I'm going to do that is that I need a center column that's going to come up through the middle, and then an outer box like that. And so I'm going to be building a ramp that will kind of go there, that will go down and at an angle, and then another one here that will go down and at an angle, and just keep working that around. I'll probably only have the dice come in from one side, drop down 3 levels, and then come out, rather than try to make it keep going around. made a stick of smaller sticks. So this is going to be our base. Well, actually not the base, there will be a base. This will be the core. And that'll go on top of it, and then we'll cut some shelves, some slopes, some steps, I don't know what they are, and they're gonna go on like this, at this angle, and one like this angle, one like that angle. So let me get the base so we can get this thing glued like that. Step 1, clean off the saw. And by that, I mean just put it on another saw. So now I need to try to figure out the steps, but the top step needs to be able to move, which I have a really good idea for. But the top step needs to be able to move because I want to put a little limit switch underneath the step so that that step, when you drop the die onto the step, it will push down on the switch, which will turn on the lights. And they'll do an animation while it's falling down, and then it'll turn off. So I have to be able to make that top step move a little bit. So I'll figure out where it's going to go, but then I'll glue the other ones in. So this is a cool thing that I found on Amazon years ago, and I bought them just in case I would ever have a need for them. And today's the day. I just have to find them.
1 hour later.
These are acrylic hinges. Now the cool thing about this is that they are nice and loose. They don't have holes in them for screws because they are meant to be solvent welded onto other pieces of acrylic. So I've got a whole bunch of these, and this is the first time I've gotten to use them. I'm trying to figure out how to start actually putting this thing together because I kind of need the sides, but I also have to be able to get to the inside of it. I went ahead and cut the side pieces, and I did this the same width as the base so that each piece can be overlaid. So I can set it right on top of there. Actually, I need to do it a little bit short. I didn't think about that. That's what I meant to do. 1/8 of an inch shorter so that you could butt them all like this. And as long as the overlap is the same on every corner, then the pieces can all be the same size. So I gotta cut these down just a hair. totally works. So we're just gonna make it do that a couple more times and then put some lights under it. Ooh, it kind of slides there rather than rolls. So I'm going to cut this little area out right here for the die to fall out. I think I'm going to try the bandsaw, but there's a good chance that the vibration of the bandsaw may like crack these edges and stuff, so that may not be the way to do it, but I'm going to give it a shot because if it does work, it will be the simplest option for cutting out a section. I added a bunch of unnecessary pieces to this just to give it more surface, and all of these edges of the cut acrylic are going to catch light. So when you shine light up through the middle, the center piece is definitely going to catch a lot, and hopefully we'll push it into all of these other pieces. And there's going to be light coming from the entire bottom, so hopefully it'll catch it. I may have to go back and kind of frost some of these to really get light, but we're at a point now where I'm ready to put in this hinged first ramp piece, and again, that's going to be hinged so that it can hit this limit switch like that, which will trigger the lights to come on and off. But ran into a small little problem in that the hinge is wider than my ramp. So I'm going to try taking this to the bandsaw and just cutting it off. Hopefully it will stay intact and I can then glue it onto the ramp and glue it into place. Still works. So I think next I'm going to temporarily put this panel in. This is not going to get glued in. This is the last panel. It's not going to get glued in until the very, very end. But I need to have it in place so that I can glue the hinge to it so I know where all that's going, so I know where to put the button. Might need to actually, oh okay, so I have this other, this is the same solvent, but it's a thicker kind of gel-like stuff. So I think what I'll do for this is actually put a couple of dots on the back of this, drop it in place, and get it in the right, position, and then hold it. Might be easier. It is a clear, syrupy cement for high-strength joints. This video is sponsored by SimpliSafe. We are big fans of SimpliSafe here in the office. We've all got systems at home. We have a system here at the building itself. It's a great way to secure your home or your office. What you do is go to simplisafe.com. You build out a list of all the components that you need, maybe some glass break sensors, door sensors, motion sensors, indoor-outdoor cameras, video doorbells. They've got it all. And once you get that system built out, they'll ship it to you in a box. Once you get that box, it takes you about 30 minutes to set up. It's incredibly easy. And then you can set up interactive monitoring. This is great because if any of your sensors are tripped, if your system is armed, it will alert you on your phone and it will alert the authorities so that they know to come check on you. We've got a special deal for you. When you go to simplisafe.com/ILTMS, you're going to get 20% off your entire system when you sign up for interactive monitoring. And you get a month for free. It's a great system. It's easy to set up. Go check out everything they have to offer. Again, that's simplisafe.com/ILTMS. Big thanks to SimpliSafe for sponsoring this video. I've been doing some work on this and finally figured out that a simple way to make the little button work better was to add some more weight. So I tripled the piece of acrylic on the top of this, so it's a little bit heavier, and I worked on the code a little bit. So now when I drop the die in, it triggers that button right there, turns on some lights, and then they turn themselves off. Now I still have to work on an animation to actually make the lights do what I want, but it's all ready to go. So now we're at a point where we need to make a base for this thing so we can hide the LEDs and the microcontroller inside. To make a really simple case or stand for this thing, I went to a website called makercase.com. It's like a free website where you just put in the dimensions of the box that you want. It spits out the outlines and you can send them to a laser cutter or CNC machine and cut out a box jointed box, which is really cool and really easy. So I cut this out of black acrylic. I think it'll look really good. I made an opening here so that my base of my clear acrylic can set down in here and be glued in place. I still have to drill a hole because I forgot to do it so that I can plug in the power on the outside, but then everything else should be able to hide in this space. I've got some vellum, and you can kind of see through it. It has some frosting, and it's like a plasticky paper. And so basically I'm going to cut down a square of this and put it on top of the LEDs to diffuse them just a little bit. I've got the LEDs in the base now. I've got the little power port stuck out here. And the last thing I'm going to do is add a little chimney. And the reason I'm going to do that is so that I can make sure that when I drop one of the die, it's falling in the exact right spot to hit this thing to actuate the button. If you do it too high, it doesn't work. If you do it too low, it completely misses it. So I want to force it to be right in the right spot. It's basically going to be more of this cutting and gluing. So while I do this, the rest of the team is going to start working on their dice towers. So my little dice tower is finished, and it turned out all right, but the ones that the rest of the team made are super cool, so let's look at those. Anthony decided to make his Super Mario themed, so he went into Fusion 360, modeled this thing from scratch, printed it out, and then painted it, and it looks great. Megan wanted to do a Rapunzel themed tower, so she actually found a really great model by Fate's End online, printed that out, and then spent a huge amount of time painting it, adding moss, and some hair. And then Josh took a totally different route and used some popsicle sticks and a bunch of other stuff to make one from scratch, and it's a rabbit that you may recognize from Monty Python. So there you go, a bunch of different ways to make a dice tower. It's an extremely simple thing. In fact, Josh made another totally different type that works really well and looks super nice. There's a million ways to do this. It only has to do one thing, so you can make it look however you want, make it in whatever way works for you. And if this gave you some ideas for one that you can make for yourself, we would all love to hear about it down in the comments. We've got tons of other types of projects that you may want to check out, and if you're not subscribed, be sure to do that as well. That's it for this one. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Make it go like a spiral staircase, but with ramps, like a terrible spiral staircase. Terrible spiral. It's okay. But basically, it's like a spiral staircase on the inside of a column, but a really terrible staircase. I did it again. I wanted to say a terrible staircase because each one is a ramp. I mean, so that's how you make a dice tower. That's really it.